going on, guys? Miguel here. So today Miguel and Eva here today. We're coming at you with a video on the 4 methods of prospecting and why I believe it's very important for you guys to understand how these methods work and how to itemize each systematically. Okay, this kind of ties into the pillars of your prospecting pillars, right? So if you guys have never been here before, of course, my name is Miguel. I am licensed out in the London, Ontario, Canada area, so I'm a Canadian realtor. I've built my entire business from door knocking, of course other methods as well, and I'm going to dive into that today, and I think that's high value for you guys to know my pillars as a Canadian real estate agent, and I'll give you my insights on that. And I've been licensed for just 4 years now. I'm doing my 4th calendar year currently, and I've closed over 100 sales. So so we're gonna dive in. I also want you guys feedback on the fly on the wall kind of the way I have it set up now, where I'm just driving. I find, like, from a timing perspective, just because I'm so busy with real estate, timing perspective, it just kind of helps with me just from my office drives as I go to my run. As you can see, I'm wearing running clothes right now, and then she's preparing for her run in the background. So yeah, so I do want to hear you guys' perspective on it, this versus the some of the other ways I'm doing it. But yeah, so let's start here. So I want to start off with the four avenues, I guess we'll call it, the 4 avenues of prospecting. Okay, so now I'm gonna build this from hottest to coldest, right, and how you work each. So number 1 is closing a sale. Number 2 is setting an appointment. Number 3 is building familiarity. Number 4 is number 4 is building familiarity, and number 3 is gathering information, the information gathering stage. So I'll go back through those. So number 1, the hottest of hot, is closing for the appointment. Number 2 is setting the appointment. Number 3 is information gathering information. Number 4 is going to be making familiarity in your market. Okay, how does this all tie to real estate? Well, this all ties into your pillars. Okay, and the reason why I want to make a video on this, because I actually hit a wall recently. Okay, I think I hit my first wall in real estate. By no means am I having a bad year or any of that stuff, but I'm just honest and transparent with everyone, and I hit a wall. And as many of you know, I door knock, right? So in Canada, I can't go directly and call expireds, because otherwise I'd have like not a million listings, but you know what I mean. Like, I just don't have that super hot source, so I had to go find out that stuff on my own, which more recently has forced me to derive more focus on my additional pillars as opposed to spending more time on door knocking. Okay, so as many of you guys know, I want to build my entire, like, that's what I do. Like, I love door knocking, and that's what I want to teach everyone. Ultimately, that is my end goal. I want to be a teacher for door knocking. At the same time, I have to I help you guys understand that door knocking is not always the best approach if you need more immediate business, right? So where do I come with this? Well, if we're looking at door knocking, well, what's the main objective of it? Obviously, the main objective is to set appointment. That's your objective, but that's rarely the case where you're going to set an appointment. You know, I just signed a listing last night with a party that I met door knocking within a week and a half. But you see, the other side of it is they're in my hybrid farm area, so they're already familiarized with me when I met them at their door. And I already met them a couple years, or 2 or 3 years ago, right? I didn't get their information, but it was just the timing. They already familiarized with me, right? So mainly when you are door knocking, your goal should be to set an appointment, right? Close out the appointment. Next is obviously closing a referral, right? That's part of it, but which is also setting an appointment. But the other side of it is information gathering and then building familiarity. But really the main thing that comes from door knocking is building familiarity, right? Because the more you see these people, because you got to think of it this way, right? Door knocking is, while it's targeted, it's also untargeted, because you are meeting people at some random point in their life, right? Versus if I'm calling an expired or for sale by owner, they've already raised their hand, so they're already down towards the funnel of the appointment setting. You see, in real estate, guys, there's no lead pillar that immediately has you closing a sale, right? And maybe if not in real estate real estate agent relations, but if I'm talking from the sense of like what are those, wholesalers? If you're a wholesaler, you can close out the deal on the spot and just send them an offer, right? A cash offer. Your main objective when you're wholesaling, for example, from what I know anyways, is you can close the sale, right? So the way I'll break these down, I'm going a little bit off off the radar here, but you guys know that's just the way my videos are. I just go off the hook. The way you got to look at it is, how do I tie these in? Well, for people who want to set, let's start with the highest, right? The closing the sale. If we're starting with closing the sale is going to be a lot more related to low risk transactional items. Okay, so for example, if you're selling like pest control services, if you're selling a phone plan, right? Let's say you're selling, I guess the easiest one is like phones, right? Someone's going to walk in and they've expressed they want to get a phone. Well, that's to buy a phone outright is what, like $1,500 right now? I don't know. To do that, like someone can make that information on the spot, or can make that decision on the spot. Your goal is not going to be to build familiarity, because you have the opportunity first off to close out a sale in low transactional items. Same thing if you're going door to door and you're selling solar systems, right? Your main objective should be to close the sale or set an appointment, right? With real estate, it's not really that case, because I can't really close a sale on the spot unless I have both the decision makers there. They've already been familiarized with who I am, they're comfortable, and I hit them exactly on that time. And there is once in my life where I actually signed a listing agreement. I never sold the home, but I did sign a listing agreement with the guy. And I've knocked on tens of thousands of doors and sell a lot of real estate. So I can tell you from experience that's not really the case with it. So in other words, guys, from a short-lived like transactional sales standpoint, your main objective should be to closing the sale. Setting the appointment does tie into if you're dialing. So this is where expireds, right? Your hotter sources is where you have expireds and for sale by owners. Your main goal with those people in real estate, right, is to set an appointment. So now I can start talking more on the real estate side of things, because that's where it starts to tie in. It's okay with expireds and for sale by owners. Your main goal is to set an appointment, right? The second hottest of the four. The third one, information gathering, is going to be if you have someone who's already in your funnel and you're trying to itemize, like, okay, who's in their family, right? Like, you're starting to get to know someone after you've already built them into your database, right? You're starting to move them up the funnel, so that way once they are ready, you can resource, or you can pickpocket basically their buying window when they're ready to buy. So that's the when you're working database. If you're working database, for example, your next part is the gathering information, and then of course that moves up as you're more familiar with the time frames. You start tagging them, right? Because you're going to start adding tags and notes to people who you're speaking with in your CRM and your database. You can start moving them up the funnel as you've gathered more information, and now you can start setting an appointment with those people. The fourth one, which is the gathering information. Gathering information number 3. Sorry, the fourth one, which is building familiarity, really ties into door knocking. Okay, so like I said, with door knocking, I have 3 main objectives, right? It's to set an appointment, get a referral, and build my database. But the reality is, most people I'm speaking to, I have the opportunity to get into my database, whether they're interested or not. And that's, if you guys door knock, if you guys have personal experience door knocking, you would know. You're going to meet people at random times. So that's where door knocking actually falls into the building familiarity. So why this video is important for you guys? Well, this is going to tie back into the wall I recently hit, where I started leaving all the other sources behind because I was just getting a lot of calls from my database, people I knew, and people I met door knocking. I had a lot of business coming to me, right? And I still am. Like, I have at least one piece of business coming to me every week, which is great, right? Because it's qualified already. But the other side of it is I also have goals where I need to hit certain numbers, and it's hard to target those if I'm just door knocking, because it's not as systematic as if I have certain pillars. So for me, what we've been breaking down is, with my coach, is I have my 4 pillars, and my 5th one is, open houses, which we decided is going to be supplemental, and I have to do open houses as a realtor anyways. I don't have to, but if I want to give my sellers top service, I have to have that set up in some shape or form. And I do believe that doing that actually, if you approach it right, can get you some actually good seller leads as well. So the pillars we came up with was, okay, if I have for rent by owners, so we came up with for rent by owners and knocking around expireds, like proven knocks around expireds. Those are the 2 most likely to help me set appointments, and that's where I'm building my pillars around. Okay, so if I want to look for immediate appointments here in Canada, my best options through my stats, and this comes from just knowing your numbers over time, my best opportunity is actually, for me, it's calling for rent by owners, because those have the highest opportunity. But the other side of it is, if I want good return, is also knocking around expireds. But that also falls into setting number 2, because it almost falls into gathering information, because I know they're ready, but I also might not hit some people if I go. Like, if I can target, let's say I have time in the day to go to let's say 6 to 7 around the city, right? There might be a world where I hit 1 or none, right? Like I've had it before where I never hit any of the expireds. And with expireds, the other side of it too is I have to call a certain number. It usually takes on average through expireds, it's about 10 contacts to get an appointment set. If I'm door knocking, it's closer to 7. I've tracked my numbers over time. However, the other side of that is it's not like for rent by owners where I can just pick up the phone. I know I'm going to be hitting people who are ready, because with rent by owners, if I've expressed to them, if I ask them, hey, if the numbers make sense, would you consider selling the property? And they say yes, absolutely. I got a hot one. Like I'm ready. I set the appointment, right? So that's how you want to build your pillars in real estate, is figure out who is going to be your best fit to get more appointments sold, and then, or to get more appointments, but then also from that, go down the ladder of the 4 avenues, right? Closing the sale, set an appointment, build familiarity. Setting the appointment. I keep going to build familiarity as the build familiarity is number 4, but information gathering is number 3, right? And so how I described all these pillars for you guys, it should help you, or how all these lead generation sources tie into these 4 pillars, helps you itemize where you need to be spending your time, right? Because for me, I still spend lots of time door knocking, and it's still like by far just overall it's been my number 1 source. At the same time, if I really want to get some listing appointments set for the week because I'm behind on listing appointments set or listing appointments met, I'm going to start picking up for rent by owners and just dialing every single for rent by owner there. Okay. So that's pretty much the video, guys. Like I just wanted to go over like the importance of that. And again, if you guys are in the States, you should know that you're, if you want the immediate business pillar, which is setting the appointment, which is number 2, because again, we don't really have the first one, which is closing the sale immediately on the spot, unless you met someone right away and they're like, that happens like maybe once every 10 years, you know what I mean, in our business, because we're selling higher risk, higher stakes, right? But if you guys want that to tie into the number 2 and you guys need the appointments, well, if you're in the States, 100% start picking up dialers and start calling expireds and for sale by owners, right? But if you're here like me in Canada, well, you're going to have to start looking at some other avenues, which I've been able to personally source myself over time, as calling for rent by owners and knocking around expireds. Because here in Canada, as long as I've knocked around the area, then I've proven that I can knock by that expired. I'm not specifically targeting them, which I'm actually not. I've gotten tons of business around expireds, around like the people around expireds, okay? So I hope this helps, guys. I just want to really quickly touch on that because, again, I personally hit my first wall in business. I probably hit some other ones and just not realized, but that's where I hit my first wall and was like, okay, it's time to kind of, when you hit a wall, you got to make an adjustment. And my adjustment was start focusing on my pillars, right? Which ones are actually going to itemize systematically, further set appointments, and which ones are going to actually build my database through building familiarity, right? Because if you guys need to start building your database, you have to start focusing on building familiarity. People who are familiar with you are going to give you your contact information, to which then you can further start qualifying them further down the line to say, hey, this person, you start discovering their buying windows, you start finding life events that start making trigger events, like, oh, this person just died, okay, like this is going to trigger a move soon, right? And then it starts moving to setting the appointment, and then finally closing the sale, which in real estate, to close a sale, you've already got to be on appointment and have someone who's hot, ready to go. That makes sense. So I hope you guys like that, and we're going to see you guys in the next one, okay? Peace.